Welcome back to GP Outdoors. Good thing I took the blower off of that tractor. Finally, we're back to sunshine. Really odd weather this time of year as always. We go for 2 to 3 weeks of almost every day of sunshine and t-shirt weather. And then we roll into 4 days of nothing but nonstop rain and big windstorms. This time of year is a great time to walk your property. Just before all the trees start to explode with leaves, you get that cover in the forest. All the thickets and bushes start to fill the forest floor, and then you can't see too far into the forest. Right now, it's so bare that you can see everywhere. No snow on the ground. And of course, it's a good time to see what's changed since last year, and a reminder of some of the projects that say you promised your wife you'd do and you haven't done yet, like this fire pit. Yeah, I'm supposed to rebuild that, make it a little prettier. That's still on the to-do list. And the old dock. She's been in need of replacement for a number of years now. I'm just waiting it out. I have a feeling one day I'm going to wake up and the dock's going to be across the lake. It's pulled off its piers there, its moorings. Maybe a big job, and it's going to be costly. Oh, look at that. Looks like a fox came through here this morning. That guy there, that's new. Definitely on its way down. But it's definitely far enough. I don't have to worry about it falling on the cabin or anything else. Plus, it's sitting right now inside the shoreline allowance, so I'm not allowed to cut it without an exemption anyways. So I'll let Mother Nature take its course on that. We'll take a note of it though. Once again, it's too bad it's not hardwood. Never is for me. Yeah. Ah, this guy here. I'm not sure if I told you about this little sapling. This, believe it or not, is an oak tree. Now, you'd be hard pressed to find any oak on my property at all. Virtually none. I think if you paid me $1 million, I couldn't find an oak tree back there in all 4 acres. But Mother Nature worked her magic. Thing grew out of the ground into a sapling. We realized it was oak. And so in order to protect it from the beavers, I built this little cage around it, put that chicken wire in there. It'd be really nice to have a big old oak right here, right at the shoreline. There's some boulders there that should go on my rock wall. Something else I have to do this summer. Add that to the list. So much cleanup to do when you have a forest too. I could spend 10 years every day and I'd still never get it done. And there's this guy right here, right by the cottage. It's leaning a little bit away from the cottage, which is a good thing, but the wind unfortunately blows across towards the cottage. So we get big winds, she starts swinging back and forth, and it's a little bit close for my liking. Not to mention I can see that it's definitely leaning a little bit more this year than it was last year. One of the things I think you find when you've got property is you start to take note of a number of different trees, especially when they're around your cabin. You keep an eye on them, like this guy here. That guy there, he's definitely leaning a lot more than he was last year, and yesterday in the winds, he was swinging like crazy. So I have a feeling that's another one I'll have to keep an eye on. I may just end up taking the 2 of them down this year. Because at the end of the day, if this guy falls, I am 90% sure it'll reach the cabin from where it is. I guess at the end of the day, I'd rather take it down than have it come down and hit my truck or my tractor or the side of that cabin. The old rock wall. That was a great idea. Somewhere to put all the rocks I keep digging up. And there's the old beginning of my woodshed build. Boy, that was a heartbreaker. Well, the prices of that pressure treat skyrocketed on me last year, and you couldn't find any for months. They'd barely get it in and it'd be gone again. I think mostly the contractors would take it. And prices are still a little crazy, so I'm not sure when I'm going to get back to this, but what is nice is it looks like my base has held up well, so I'm pretty happy about that. Glad I put those extra little blocks under there through the middle just to give it a little more stability. What I'm hoping to do or planning to do is I want to put some of these big rocks almost like steps in here, because as you can see, the elevation at this end is much higher than there. So I was thinking if I dig out the side, put some really nice big boulders, especially flat top type boulders, kind of almost like this guy here. Then I'll be able to almost have 2 or 3 steps up and then have it taper down to the driveway or to the ground level here. More rocks and boulders. I'm sure hoping that stays healthy for a long time, or all of my good work on this fence is going to go to waste. Jeez. It's pretty helpful getting a chance to walk through here before the forest fills in. This here was a bit of a heartbreaker. You may recall I did a video on it. We had a really, really wicked thunder and lightning storm, and we had winds over 100 kilometers an hour. Last November, I did a video because there was 5 or 6 trees that fell across the driveway. This is the other damage or storm damage that happens. We've got these little softwood trees. They're brittle. They don't stand up at all, especially the strong winds. You recall this is the beginning of my trails, my walking trails. And you'll remember I cleared all this out. But all of this occurred that one night, that big windstorm back last November. All of this. None of this was here. Everything's come down. I think the old grapple is definitely going to come in handy for this job. Here's where my walking trail was. Speaking of walking trails, there's another one I haven't done for my wife yet. I think we got about 270 feet done the year before last, and last summer, sadly, I did not make 1 foot of progress on this trail. I'm definitely leaning towards taking some of your advice. I think I might just rent an excavator. I mean, you could do it with the tractor and the tools I have, but it's a very long process. And I think maybe with an excavator, have an opportunity to get that trail cleared, or a lot more of it cleared, and more importantly, do something with all that storm damage and all this stuff that's come down. Be a lot easier to clean up a lot of this stuff. This is where I wanted to take the trail through, because this is basically the end of the trail right here that I'd completed to. And we wanted to start heading this way. Boy, oh boy, wow. We did get a lot down from that storm. Look at these guys. Yeah. My goodness. Yeah, oh geez, that big guy back there. Yeah, I think it might call for a few days rental on an excavator for sure. Boy, plus it'd be a lot of fun using an excavator. Funny, 5 days ago I was wearing a t-shirt. Today I've got my winter jacket and a hat on. Must be March. Jeez, look at that. Boy, a whole lot came down last November. This was not here. Uprooted this guy, but good. Oh, look at that, right by the road. Jeez. I want the trail to go right through here. Right through, in through here where I could do the least damage to any live trees or anything that's living. Try to follow the property line all the way around, and then a couple of intermediary trails between them would be just really great. Plus, it definitely make my wife happy. And she doesn't ask for much. I knew that was a rough storm back then, but I didn't realize. Geez, look over there. You could tell it's all from that storm, because one, I know a lot of this wasn't here, and two, when you look back, you'll notice they've all fallen down the same direction. One thing you have to be careful when you're clearing out the forest floor, a lot of little critters in the forest use these logs and the thickets as their home. So you want to try your best not to upset them or take their homes away. Oh my goodness. That was one heck of a storm. Wow, I had no idea. I hadn't been back here since just before, I think it was probably last September, the last time I walked back into the deep. There we go. I'd like one of those intermediary trails to come through here. And of course, this is the site of my garage one day. It's going to be back here. And there's that burn pile. It's getting bigger and bigger. I'm not sure about you good folks, but up here, since just after the COVID started, there's been a burn ban on non-stop except for a 2-week period of time last fall. And you were only allowed, I think, to have a fire that was 2 feet or 3 feet by 3 feet. Basically, you know, a little fire for the family to roast some marshmallows or some weenies. No burn though. And as a result, that burn pile is getting bigger and bigger. And I'd hazard a guess that I probably shouldn't put anything else on it until I get rid of what's here. Because I don't need a forest fire. For those of you that were watching some of the videos I did of talking about the garage build, this is my challenge. You can see it a lot more clearly now as we're getting into the spring thaw, but the forest naturally exits its water through a little channel right in the corner. And you can see, because this area of ground is so much lower than the surrounding ground, just produces one great big lake right where I'd like to build the garage. I'd love to be able to get that garage at some point and get rid of all of this stuff out of the front of the cabin, and quite frankly, Carol would like to see that herself. Our original plans, which is why I've got grass back in here, was we wanted to build a garden in through here where you see all of my tools parked. The problem is I found out from a pest control guy that you don't want to put gardens and shrubs and underbrush close to your cabin because it provides shelter or cover for mice and for the moles. That's why the other side of the cabin, you'll see I cut back all of the brush and thicket about 10 feet from the side of the cabin so that they didn't have that cover to run to the cabin. Hard enough keeping them out as it is. So what I think I'm probably going to do is I'm going to dig this up right through here, grade it a bit, throw down some of that black paper, and I'm just going to extend this parking area and just gravel it right to the side of the house. Maybe put a bit of a grate on it to help the water run away. And we'll do it right down to the side of the shed because the grass just doesn't grow here very well anyways. At the end of the day, it's a bit of a mess because it ends up just being nothing but weeds and it doesn't grow very well. So I think if we just cut it nice and clean and allow the parking lot just to take up this whole area, I think that's what's best. I always joke with folks, that's Guy's bathroom back there. There's actually a joke as to why it is, but I can't tell you the joke, sorry. As I mentioned before, I guess the folks before me never really did much with the land. I could work on this for years and never clean it all up. Just so much down now. Look at that. Oh, And this guy also is new. Look at that. Yep. And again, facing north, got ripped up by that storm, guaranteed. Look at that. Oh, wow. A couple more back there. Take a look at that. Jeez. This was the other part of the trail I began clearing. I don't know if you folks remember, you'll see the pole I put in for the property line. I used to be able to walk right through here. Isn't that something? And once again, no hardwood for Gord. If it was hardwood, I think Bobby and Guy would be here in a heartbeat cutting that up. Yeah. There we go. Isn't that something? Well, it's a beautiful morning for a walk. Like I said, it's a great time of the year if you've got property to take advantage, get warmed up. Usually I'd have a coffee with me, but I couldn't carry the coffee and you at the same time, so you won today. But yeah, take a little morning, especially a nice, beautiful morning like today. Go for a walk, walk your property. You'd be surprised what changes year to year and what you actually notice or recognize has changed year over year. Thanks for sticking around with me this morning. I hope you enjoyed the walk. If you like the channel, please click subscribe, hit the like button. If you want to know when I'm posting more videos, just click that little bell. Have a wonderful and safe week with your families. Please be kind to one another. I'll see you again on the next one, right here on GP Outdoors. Cheers.